Welcome back to the Navy Sports Magazine. Time now to talk some swimming. When we talk swimming around the Naval Academy, we talk about a lot of success, and a lot of success on the women's side. Kaitlyn O'Reilly and many of her teammates have continued on a legacy here. And I'll ask you, when you first arrived, they told you what the legacy is all about. You can look back at past results and see what that dominance has been all about. But what was it like to live it now over the last 4 years?
It's been an incredible experience just putting myself into that feeling of being on a team that expects almost perfection every time you race. I grew up on a team where there was maybe 5 of us at meets. Sometimes it was just me and my sister. And I came into a team that demanded hard work in every single set. And at the end of the day, we celebrated it. And that led to bigger celebrations at big meets. And that's something I never got to experience. And it's some of the biggest highs in my life. And even when I didn't have a good swim, they were still amazing because I had my teammates there to help me through really any negativity I had inside. But by the end, my last meet, my last race, I got out of the pool and I jumped on Lauren Barber and she yelled, you're done, you never have to do it again." And I should have been extremely happy, and I was very proud of everything I had done, and same with all my classmates. But leaving that team is almost as actually more incredible to me than joining it. Joining it was, I didn't have any experience with it. Having 4 years of them being my number one support and my go-to people every day, that's something I'm going to miss when I'm done. And I cried for sure when I raced. But there are people that I know I can rely on for the rest of my life, and that's something that I think the team uses more than anything to propel us.
I was going to say, it's, as you mentioned, until you experience it, it's almost like an indescribable bond that you all have. But you mentioned, you've got great coaches, but it strikes me every time I know doing the meets with Rowdy Gaines against Army and seeing you all perform, you all seem, though, to have an accountability amongst yourselves. I would say that your coaches don't necessarily have to consistently do that in the pool. You all seem to have that accountability factor within yourselves. A fair observation?
Very, very fair. We, especially the first class and the second class, by the time you're at that level, you expect it of everybody. Every practice is put yourself out there, make yourself better. Especially at this level, tenths of a second, that's an incredible drop. That's great. If you're getting best times, it's hard to do, and we're getting older, and that makes it even harder. So we expect every single day there's going to be something that makes you better. If you're having a bad day, maybe it's your turns that are going to make you better. If you're swimming really well, push it so that you are getting as much out of that practice as you can. And the first C's demand that of everybody, and the second class embrace it, and the youngsters are learning it, and the plebes love it. And that culture just builds every year to the point where when the plebes become the firsties, they're ready to take on that role. And I think that also really helps us at swim meets when we're always the loudest team. I've never seen a team that can out yell us and out cheer us. We will be the loudest, we will be the most in your face, but
is that what makes it, though, cool? Because you all are out there supporting each other. And I know there's a lot of individual, and when we interview swimmers and wrestlers and other individual athletes who are within a team, is that the coolest part about it, though, is even though you may be in your own individual event, you all are out there supporting each other in everything that everybody else is doing?
Yes, 100%, because I know there are times that I thought when I was in high school that I was putting myself out there for the team, and I was going for the team, but now in college where everybody expects that of you, I get in the race and I feel no nerves because I know that I'm not swimming for my own self here. I'm swimming so that my team scores points and my team wins the meet. There's very little pressure on you if you think of it that way. It's just, what can I do to help my teammates? And I know they think the same thing next to me. What can I do to help my teammates? Before, if you watch the videos of Patriots and any meet actually, you see all of us cheering for the other ones that are next to us, whether we're in the race or not. Even if they're competition, we're all sitting there cheering for each other, and that helps. Before my races, I'll scream for Lauren every time. She's right next to me. I know she's gonna win, but she's amazing to watch, and I will always cheer for her because I know what I've done with training with her and what she's done with training with me is we've made each other better, and we can depend on each other in that race, and that takes a lot of pressure off you.
What is it like to observe that kind of, really, I can't think of a better word than greatness on an everyday basis, is to see her work the way she has, to see her get the results. that she consistently has and that a lot of you all consistently get. At some point, when you're a young person and you're wide eyed trying to figure out what's going on, maybe it's pressure. When does that pressure, though, develop into expectation? At what point? I'm sure everybody has a different point, but for you, when did it become, instead of pressure, it just became an expectation and you had to go to work?
I would say probably youngster year here. I always thought that when I was growing up that it was just an expectation, but it was definitely the pressure to swim well for my team in high school, pressure to get into a college, just normal pressure a coach puts on you. It wasn't until I had a team that just had such a high level of demand of that expectation that it became my own personal expectation. And to get to the point of like racing with Lauren every day, that greatness is what makes our team great. And she'll say our team's greatness is what makes her great. She has the ability every day to push every race. Like we swim the IM together, and each of us has our own strength in it. And she is an amazing breaststroker. And I was not a breaststroker when I came here, but she made me one because I got to train with her. And she will tell you her backstroke's probably her worst by far and away, still better than all of ours. But I am a backstroker by trade, and she'll say that I made her backstroke better. I think a lot of it is when you have someone like that that can make you better, and you think about it not as it's a competition to beat them. It's a competition to make myself better.
Mm-hmm.
And if it comes down to I get first or if I get second, that's okay. I think that's when it changes from pressure to expectation of greatness, that everybody is going to be great.
Especially something like the individual medley where you're showing all the different disciplines. Is at some point do you have to fight yourself in learning all of them and then obviously perfecting all of them to compete at that level? Do you have to fight yourself at all, or did you have any preconceived notions about doing all of those different things coming in and saying, all right, I'll give it a try, and then all of a sudden you got to figure out whether you're one of the best to compete out there?
I think a lot of that was decided for me back when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find a stroke that I was extremely good at, so I did them all as a response to I couldn't
Sure.
win any single individual event, so why not make myself average at all of them and hope for the best. I know for Lauren, she's great at all of them, so her natural response was, okay, like I'll train all of them and see what happens when I throw them together. But here, I'm a big fan of how we do practices. They split them, so there are IM practices. We just solely work on swimming that race. And that, whether you have strengths in something or weaknesses in another, we'll have days where we only swim our worst strokes. That's part of the practice. For an entire 2 hours, you're swimming your worst stroke and you're perfecting it until you can get just a little bit faster there, because that's the place you're going to make gains, not your best stroke. Your best stroke, it becomes a strategy in the race, and you need to know it's there, and it's kind of like your confidence going into the race. But it's your worst stroke that you're going to make gains on. So, like, we train that. We work really hard with each other to help each other. So, like, I've helped Lauren with backstroke. She's helped me with the breaststroke a lot. But I think a lot of it comes down to, like, each one of us is okay with competing against each other. I mean, there were 6 of us, 5 in the 200 IM that I knew every day, like, who was good at what and who was better at what. And it's a strategy when you go into an IM. You know where you need to be ahead and which stroke you're going to sprint because it's going to be yours. But that skill of knowing that mentally only can be paired if you do it every day in practice. And I think like Mo and Rob are like amazing at coaching it, and I'm thankful to them every day because I would not have gotten good at IM without them.
Yeah. Final about 45 seconds here. How does someone end up on the superintendent's list, become an accomplished swimmer out of the swimming hotbed of the state of Minnesota? How does one get all of that to come together for them here?
I think a lot of it was my parents. They pushed me when I was young, but they never had unreasonably high expectations. They were proud of me no matter what happened. And I came here. My dad was an Army officer. He didn't go to West Point, so we don't have that. But he was an Army officer. He talked me into going here when I was young. Loved it. And I told my parents that I would push myself every day. And that was the rule. Like, I did not like plebe year. Most people will tell you plebe year wasn't my favorite year. But I stuck with it. And I told myself that if you're gonna be here, you're gonna give everything you have every single day. I think honestly that's what it is in class I put my head down and I study so that I have time to go to swimming. And then in swimming it's forget about school so that I can work solely on that and mentally focus as much time as I can into the pool. And then I go back and practice is over and it's back to school. It's about a lot of mental compartmentalization.
No doubt about it. Congratulations on all of your success. Enjoy retirement. I'm sure it won't be the last time you get in a pool, but congratulations on everything you've accomplished here.
Thank you so much.
All right, Kaitlyn O'Reilly joining us here on the Navy Sports Magazine.